I was going to ask you about Caleb, of course, because this is this is like
Yeah.
the leading story on this. I'm so fascinated by Bo Nix. What a hook! I can't wait to read about that. Um, were you surprised? What was surprising to you about the reaction to this like first little taste of this story?
Well, to go with what you were talking about earlier, like what's the lesson? I think that Carl Williams and Caleb Williams knew that as much as being a great NFL quarterback comes down to your ability to manage all of these things and being able to make these incredible throws that really only maybe five people a generation can make, who picks you matters. Luck
Mhm.
matters. And I think that like they saw the situation similar to how Jack and John Elway saw it in 1983, to how Archie and Eli Manning saw it in 2004, where if there was a way possible for him to have some agency over his future employer, they wanted to exhaust all avenues and see if they could do it. And because I think that they realized that, does Bo Nix have the rookie year that he has if he's not drafted by one of the greatest offensive minds ever? I don't know that.
Yep.
I doubt it, to be honest with you. And I think that like location matters and who's coaching you
Hmm.
matters and support system matters. And so when you look at the Chicago Bears and you look at their history with quarterbacks, really going back 70 years, but especially the recent history, there's not a lot of good things to talk about. And so I think that for the better part of a year in the run up to the draft, Carl Williams was looking at ways around the draft if possible. And I think that what they came down to was, are you willing to create an untenable situation similar to what the Elways did and kind of similar to what the Mannings did, and make it so that the Bears would be forced to trade you? Could that work? And was that something that they wanted to do?
You interviewed him. Of course, you were close to his father talking to the Mannings, to Mr. Elway, in trying to navigate what he
Mm-hmm.
thought might be best for his son. And it's an incredible, and I appreciate the storytelling. I can't wait to read about more about it. What stuck out to you about Caleb? Do you feel like Caleb is misunderstood?
Well, the thing that I enjoy about Caleb, and I reported around him a lot. I mean, I went to his old high school, I went to USC, and I think that like the sincerity with which he carries himself is really interesting. And I think that like when he first wanted to be a quarterback, and he had played running back, and he had decided he wanted to play running back or wanted to go to quarterback. And when he told his dad that, he said, "No, you don't understand. I want to be the greatest ever." And his dad, who, kind of gets labeled as one of these quarterback dads, but at first his dad wasn't thinking like, "Hey, I have to figure out a way to reverse engineer this so that he's the greatest quarterback ever." He looked at it as a way to get his kid to eat healthier, to go to bed earlier, to be more obedient. Any parent can relate to those things. And I think that what you learn about Caleb as you hang around him and as you watch him is, he wants to be great. His high school coaches talked about when they started him in high school over a popular, um, student who was ahead of him in terms of years in high school, upperclassmen.
Mhm.
And it was because of a vibe. It wasn't because Caleb understood the offense so much better at that point. It was because of a vibe that he gave off. And when Caleb was entering the draft, remember he had that last year at USC, which is up and down. They lost at home to Washington. He ends up in the stands, in his mother's arms. And after that game, he didn't come out
Yeah.
and meet the press. And there was a lot of NFL people who were saying, like, that's not going to fly in the NFL. It's not going to fly in the management, and it's not going to fly in the locker room. And if you look at how Caleb handled his rookie year, in which I think he was put in a lot of compromising positions by that coaching staff and by that organization, he never broke. He went in front of the cameras each time and he was an accountable leader. He proved how tough he was. And finally, he proved that he can make really difficult throws under really difficult circumstances. So if I'm a Bears fan right now, even though the first year of that, the Caleb
Yeah.
regime didn't go very well, I think there's a lot of reasons to be really optimistic.
What's his relationship with fame? How does he handle fame?
I think he's used to it. And I think he is one of those men. I think that he's one of those people who, when he decided he wanted to do this, he understood very quickly that this was part of it. He and his dad told me stories about when they first realized that he was starting to gain some notoriety. They were at the Alamo Bowl when he was at Oklahoma, and he was talking to his parents down in the hotel lobby, and he turned around and there was a line of people that had surrounded him waiting for his autograph. And at that point,
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't, a Heisman winner. As he got to USC, he learned little ways around avoiding paparazzi at LAX. And so I think that it's one of those things that he's used to, and he's gotten used to it. And I think that he's pretty comfortable being in the spotlight. And I think that, again, going back to what we talked about earlier, if you're a quarterback in the year 2025, it's something you simply have to be comfortable doing. You cannot be one of these guys who maybe were able to fly under the radar, earlier. It just doesn't exist that way anymore.